All right, Sistas fans. Now, over the weekend, I rewatched the episode again. That was my third time rewatching the episode. Okay, well, let me be more specific. Watching the entire scene at the salon, so that was a good what, about 15 minutes or so of the episode itself. And I missed a lot during my first viewing, like Karen not having insurance or, just little lines of dialogue between characters that just completely went over my head because I don't know. I think it was because initially I thought the scene was so cringy, I kind of like tuned out. I mean, by the end of the episode during my first watch live last Wednesday, I didn't even have a full page of notes just because I was, there wasn't much to talk about. But when it comes down to reevaluating the scene, because a lot of people, I think we're all in agreement that the scene wasn't that great. Online, there's just been an endless amount of people talking about the poor acting, and, some people feel like it reinforces their choice not to watch the show any longer. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, this episode just was not a good showcase of a lot of the acting chops of the cast members. But I think that something that could have happened to really make this scene a lot better than it was for Pastor Aaron to step forward. I think this was a huge missed opportunity, and it would have been a great job of utilizing the 10 plus characters who were in attendance. Andy, Fatima, Pam, Danny, Sabrina, Preston, Calvin, Maurice, Zach, Gary. You had like 10 characters there aside from Aaron. And I think what would have made this scene work was Tyler reaching back to some of his old, I guess you could say script techniques, throwing in a prayer. You have a pastor here with a large group of people, aka a congregation. They're standing outside of the salon, almost like, the disciples and, everybody looking from the outside of Jesus' tomb. And no, I'm not trying to say Karen is Jesus, so anybody trying to stretch what I'm saying, don't do that. What I'm saying is they're standing outside of what could be the tomb of Karen, one of their best friend, well, the sister's best friend, one of their own. And instead of, all of this forced dramatic acting, this crying with no tears situation, just spurting out nonsense, Aaron, who aside from Pam was the first one there. I mean, think about it. He's the pastor, and he was the one who had the most faith that, look, we don't know. I know it looks bad. This is her salon. She said she was going to the salon later that night to check up on Pam because she left the curlers on. That's her car parked right outside the salon because the firemen had to move the car back and whatnot. It looks bad. She's not answering her phone, but we don't know for certain if that's her in there. So everybody gather around, hold hands, we're going to lead a prayer. And then, this could have been a powerful moment. Now, if you wanted some crying, this could have been the scene for some crying, like them just, shaking their heads in the midst of the circle. And, what would have made this even better, in the midst of the prayer, we see Karen, but instead of her just, well, I ain't gonna lie, I loved her strut. Her strut when she came in the scene was great. She could have come into the scene, but slowly, like she would have that look of concern and an attitude as she was approaching, because that's her salon. That's her life. Everything is gone now and she's pissed. But then she's shocked when she sees that large group of people out there in a circle, and then she begins to overhear, and then she realizes, wait, are they praying? So then she overhears everything. And like, for example, Zach not making an ass out of himself in front of his fiance. Everybody in that prayer circle, mainly the sisters, they could have said something like, I wish I could have told Karen this, or I wish I would have done this differently. And, even mention the baby. Aaron, could have been like, Lord, I pray that, Karen is okay as well as the baby. Let them, please not have been in the fire. And whoever is inside of that fire whose body was found, I pray for them, that you watching God over them if they have passed away and they're with you on the other side, or, just pray for the family members and friends, who have lost one of their own. But please bring us Karen back. This could have, Tyler Perry, the guy who would always have a come to Jesus. I think that was like a, within the black community, in the early days of his plays and movies and whatnot. It was always said, like, it don't matter what kind of Tyler Perry film or show or play we're watching, there's always going to be that come to Jesus moment, regardless of what happened during like 85% of the movie. That last 15% of the film, you're going to have that come to Jesus moment where everybody sits down, they pray, and they go to church. This could have been their moment. What did it say? With two or more and gathered in my name. Come on now. You got a group of almost a dozen people. This could have been amazing. Now, this would have given us a chance to see the spiritual side of Aaron. Now, I will admit, some people have made interesting cases. Like, what? The more the show goes on, the more I forget about him being a pastor. But remember last season when Miss Lisa was calling Zach and Aaron about that whole dinner about the letters? And we saw Aaron at his office in the church. So, just saying. I mean, yeah, we've never seen him preach or anything, but he does have a church. And on top of that, the only spiritual position I know that he's been booted out of was like, a pastoral, like, male mentor for a men's group. And that was because he confessed to having, premarital sex with Karen. And as a result, he was removed from the leadership position. And from there, that's when he was all, so Karen, let's get married. Wait, what? Yeah, let's get married right now, because it wouldn't be me breaking the rules. I was always like, bro, that's a little suspect there to just get married because you don't want Look, I'm a person who's waiting until I get married for sex. I ain't just running out here talking to the first girl I meet like, hey, let's get married so I can have sex. You see how weird that sounds? Yes, I know that Karen and Aaron had known each other for about 2.5 seasons by that point, but that still was just weird on his part to do that. And yeah, I mean, you can even have people like the medical examiner. I mean, he could have come up and, I don't know when the prayer could have taken place, but maybe not long after everybody arrived, or after the news that the person in there that was found is dead. But I don't know. It would have worked. I think, even if the scene was no more than like 3 minutes or so of the prayer, this would have been a heck of a lot more impactful than like 15 minutes of just sad improv. I think because it would have really brought people back. Like, hey, yeah, this prayer, this is the Tyler Perry I know. Or, like Kevin did a good job as Aaron doing the prayer and whatnot. And then, when Karen comes up and explains how she got rescued and whatnot, that's truly God right there. Because remember back when she passed out at the ending of episode 1, if I remember, those flames are like right on her. So some like, what's his name? Lewis. I think Lewis was the name of the guy that saved her. Lewis swooped in like an angel, took her to the hospital. Turns out her and the baby are okay. I mean, like, Tyler, the writing was right there, bro. I mean, I think this would have been a great job. This would have been a lot more than, man, look at this bad acting and yada, yada, yada. I think it would have worked. A prayer definitely would have been the thing to ease the tension. It really would have been able, because, with Andy, she was like that. Andy was that person in church you do not want to sit beside, because she will just fall out at any moment multiple times. Like, okay, girl, okay, you need to stop. But Sabrina, she was sad too. But Danny, I think, was the only other person who was like, we don't know if that's her in there, like Aaron. But you could argue that the sisters all had like different stages of grief there, where it's like, oh, well, Danny was in denial. Well, I mean, yeah, she's too tough to really cry, but I do feel like he was looking at things rationally, like, look, we do not know if that's her in there. I mean, yeah, at first it sounded like, she refused to believe that Karen was gone, but, at least she was like, Aaron, like, we don't know, we need to wait and see what the people say. Because I love my favorite moment when she said, Andy, stop, because this girl just hooting and hollering and crap. It's like, look, calm down. What's the situation? All right, let's just wait, see what's going down. And it wasn't until after that medical examiner said the person inside was dead did she start to fall out. But Yeah, I think the prayer would have done wonders, and I think during the prayers that could have been a moment where Zach said a bit too much, and then we see Fatima lift her head up and open her eyes like, I know this, but the last thing she gonna do is try to break up a prayer circle. But that's just my opinion there. And then when Karen comes back, that's when everybody does their thing. So personally, I think this was a missed opportunity. A prayer could have definitely impacted this scene a lot more, because instead of a prayer, what do you have Aaron doing? Blaming everybody else, going in on Pam, trying to start a fight with Zach, cussing too. I'm like, wow, okay, cussing Christian in the house. All right, well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I think a prayer would have been perfect in this scenario, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on whether or not you think Aaron is a fraud. A lot of people are saying, oh, he a fraud, he ain't no preacher. Or Tyler just forgot that aspect of his character. I don't know. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in. I always appreciate you all coming to my channel for the content. And like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.